Well, it looks like we made it to our last two tool functions, the fill tool and the interactive fill tool. We will talk about the basic functions of the fill tool and sort of things that you have to watch out for, and the interactive fill tool, we'll just look at the one type of fill. When working with the fill tool, you can fill your colors on your palette over here, or we can actually open up our fill tool and go to the dialog, just like the dialog box from the pen outline tool. CMYK, sienna, magenta, yellow, black, or we can work in RGB mode. You can choose whatever you want, and you can actually go from your tints to your shades all within your of your fill. And when you click OK, it will apply it. Color mixers, again, I briefly talked about that. Going into the RGB mode, if I decide that I want to be your primary, there's your primary colors, your complementary colors scheme. You stay within that color scheme and your composition will really work well. And here's your color palettes of choosing what color palettes that you want. You can have all the way up to web safe colors, your Pantone colors, and again this is for more higher end use when you're outputting and going to a print house. Let's just get out of that one. So let's look at this color, fountain fill. We open up the fountain fill and we actually have different types: linear, radial. This will give you your conical, will give you your sort of three-dimensional. Click anywhere on the screen where you want it to fill, and you have your color selection. I'll just click OK. So there's our fountain fill and linear. We can move this around, go from light to dark, and again it's inside here. Let's just change the color here. Over in your color spectrum over here, if you look over here, it says, draw a line. Basically we're going to encompass from this color, from our, I guess, what is that, purple to red, and you can see this line drawn through, and then there's a spectrum of colors going through here. Or I can say go around and include all this, go the opposite way, include all those colors. Now that becomes a wee bit busy, but it does provide that option for us. So we can select the color scheme that we want, and just by moving this around. The next one is your pattern fill, and that's fine for, if you want to put certain patterns in here. You can actually create your own pattern with CorelDRAW. You can change the size. If I click OK, so there's my pattern. I decide to make it a little smaller. You can make your boxes smaller, and you can get more patterns within it. You can experiment and determine how you want your patterns to be filled. Your patterns are bitmap based, they're not vector based. That means they will the file size on these patterns will be a little larger, and you cannot change them inside the pattern, but the patterns will follow that shape, whatever you decide to do. Let's have a look at this right here, texture fill. This is kind of neat because you have a whole whack of fills and samples, and you can control all that. Now here's the thing: when it does comes time to print a textured fill object, and if your printer doesn't have enough RAM on it, or your system is slow, it will take a long time to print. This is extremely memory intensive using the texture fill. I also find students, when they use a texture fill or anything else like that, it becomes a little too busy. So kind of use your texture fill sparingly and kind of know what you're planning on doing with your texture fill. We won't worry about PostScript and no fill, and then here we can actually change our color when we decide to. So if you like this color here, you can say fill. So we can go through I'll go to RGB, just and web safe colors. We'll be working with web safes later on, so you can stay within the web safe colors or RGBs, and then also you can have your outline however you want. Okay, so that's our fills. Basically, if you just stay with the click and go, as well as the radial, you can go through with that. There you have it.